3,000 poppers. How's it poppin', guys? And thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers. I really, truly appreciate it. And I was thinking, I never really did anything special for 1,000 or 2,000, so I thought I'd do something sort of special for 3K. Nothing super special, but with this video, you guys will get to know me a lot more. So I have this account on this website called Backlogged. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it, and it's where you guys can like track your video games, your backlog, the games you are playing. You can review games, you can log games, and you can make lists as well. And one of the many lists I made on this website was for my top 50 favorite video games of all time, which is an ever-changing list. And I thought as a special like 3,000 subscriber kind of video, I would share that list with you guys and kind of go over each game, why it is ranked the way that it is. It is ranked from like least favorite to most favorite, but I'll give you some quick anecdotes, some stories surrounding them. It'll be a good time. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for all the likes, supports, the comments. It truly means the world to me. Let's get on with it. So anyways, let's start off with number 50. Number 50 on the list is Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. So this is a funny game. It was one of these games that when I was like I think I was in the 6th grade, I remember seeing so many commercials for it on TV, and I was like, this is such a cool idea. Mario and Luigi go inside Bowser's body, you get to do all this stuff. And I didn't really know that you could play as Bowser until I actually got the game. And it was one of my first ever more like advanced turn-based combat games outside of Pokemon. And I think the most nostalgic thing about this game is it reminds me of when my family and I moved to the US from Canada. That was the game that I was currently playing at that time very actively on my DS. And during that move, when we were adjusting to our new home, to my new friends, my new school and all that, I remember always having Bowser's Inside Story on my mind, all those difficult bosses, all those cool little special attacks that you can do. Yeah, this is a little bit of nostalgia for me. Number 49, I think I remember it, is Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia. Yes. Not much to say on this. I really enjoyed this game. A lot of my friends were trying to get me to play this. I just generally love the characters and I love the story. It's one of my favorite stories and one of my favorite kind of character casts in the entire Fire Emblem series. It took me a very long time to beat it. I took many breaks in between for other games and Fire Emblem Engage and Tears of the Kingdom and Future Redeemed and all those games, but I just overall had a really fun time. Number 48 is Mario Kart Wii. Let me tell you guys about Christmas 2008. There's so many memories surrounding this game. So I don't remember exactly when this game came out, but I remember the hype of playing this game with the Wii wheel and playing this game with the motion controls and all the different ways that you can play this game, all the different characters, all the different stages and the courses. And I would always go to my friend's house to play this, and I was just so mind blown that Mario Kart is evolved, that you can actually like steer like this. So I kept begging my parents over and over and over again, please get me this game for Christmas. And I got the game for Christmas and I played it like it was a single player RPG. And of course, when you play games like that as a kid, anything's gonna feel like the best thing ever. And to me, it was. It is still my favorite Mario Kart game of all time. And I have so many fond memories of this game, especially when it comes to the time trials. You guys might be like, what the heck, the time trials? I remember the time trials was how you unlock certain characters, and you could race a lot of the Nintendo developer ghosts in this. I think that's sort of what it was. And if you race them and beat them within a certain time, you get the character, you get like the next fast staff ghost or something. And I remember SNES Ghost Valley 2 was the hardest one. I could not do it. And my friend had to come over to my house and do it for me after many, many tries. So that's a very awesome memory I still have. Number 47 is Super Mario Galaxy 2. I'm not the biggest Mario fan in the world, but I remember specifically playing this game before Galaxy 1 and playing it more than Galaxy 1. And I remember I was playing this game in 2010, 2011 when everyone else was playing Halo and Call of Duty. And that was fun. This is the first time I remember I specifically remember being sold by an IGN 10 out of 10. IGN gave this game a 10 out of 10 and I believed it. I was like, oh my god, Mario Galaxy 2. They made a sequel to Mario Galaxy. I really got to give this a shot. And it's got Yoshi. It's got so much more advancements to this game. So playing this game when everyone else was playing Call of Duty and Halo is something that I'm always going to remember. Fire Emblem Engage is number 46. You might be surprised to see this game on the list at all, but the whole idea of Fire Emblem Engage is so funny because I went into this game knowing that it's going to be the silly, goofy Fire Emblem game that it is. And everyone else was like, oh my god, it's a follow-up to Three Houses, it's gonna have a really cool story, really cool characters, all that stuff, right? And I was like, whoa, what is everyone talking about? This is just like a normal, goofy anniversary Fire Emblem game. And me going into the game knowing that, I enjoyed it so much more, and I really actually loved the game. Like, a lot of the times I prefer having a balance of story and gameplay, but in this game, I did not mind the story being lackluster and stupid, and the gameplay being, like, upper echelon. I really enjoyed that. Number 45 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, this was my first ever game on the Nintendo Switch, and I played it literally every single day for the fall semester in college when that game came out in 2019. And my roommate, I don't know if he watches the channel, but my roommate in college was so good at this game. I think he went to a few tournaments as well, but he would play very well, very competitively. His mains were very crazy. He would always alternate mains. It was either Lucina, Ganondorf, Mario, and it was painful just to be destroyed by this guy every single time in every single match, but it was still fun. And basically almost every single day, once we were done with our classes, once we were done with our homework, all our friends used to come over to our apartment and just play Smash all night, and it was so much fun. And the silliest thing about this is when I boot up Smash right now, I see in my save file all these names and all these nicknames of these random people who came to our apartment for like these Smash get-togethers, these parties, these hangouts, just like people inviting their other friends and their friends of their friends coming over for a weekend. And I would see all these names. I'm like, who is this guy? Who named their person this? Who's George? Who's John? Who's like really random names? And it makes me go back and remember all the crazy like memories we had with Smash Ultimate in college. Fun times, fun times. Super Mario Odyssey is number 44. This was probably, I think, the second game I got on the Switch. And this is the first game that I really was sold on with the Switch because I was playing it in handheld mode. I remember the day after I picked this game up from GameStop, me and my family took a plane ride over to India to visit our family. And I think I told this story. I'll tell it one more time. So I played the game in tabletop mode with the tray table on the plane, and I was like, oh, totally, Nintendo Switch experience, let's go. And you know, in Super Mario Odyssey, you have to like throw your cap and like you have to do some motion controls. My sister was sleeping right next to me, and she was like, what are you doing playing freaking Wii Sports on the plane while I'm trying to sleep and you're just elbowing me this entire time? And I'm like, I'm testing the Switch out in tabletop mode. So yeah, that's some memories with Mario Odyssey, and the most vivid memory I have of this game is playing the New Donk City segment. You guys might know, like, I'm not the biggest Mario fan ever, but that New Donk City segment is a memory I'll never ever forget. It was like one of those like really wholesome gaming moments that remind you of why you're a gamer, and I kind of teared up a bit when I was doing that. I was like, remembering all the Mario experiences I had as a kid and how this all led up to this game on the Switch, playing like a home console game handheld. It was a very, very fun time, and I still think this is my favorite 3D Mario experience. So yeah, that is Super Mario Odyssey. Number 43 is Kirby Superstar Ultra for the DS. Not the Super Nintendo version, but the DS version. This is unfortunately the only Kirby game I played, but I love how this was the same year I think I got Mario Kart Wii, It was the same year I got Mario Kart Wii, but I didn't get a DS game. And in Canada, we had this thing called Boxing Day. I think Boxing Day still exists. I don't hear people talk about it anymore. But anyways, since I didn't get a DS game, I just casually asked my mom, I was like, hey, can I get this Kirby game on the DS? Because I would see all the commercials for it. I was really impressed. I remember playing Spring Breeze and Dynablade. If you guys remember like those mini games, like those short like little segments of the game, I played those on my friend's R4. So that's how I played those for the very first time. And then I asked my mom, I was like, can I get this game? And it was a very snowy Christmas then. Very, very snowy. We couldn't go anywhere. But like the shopping centers were like almost like walking distance from our house. And I remember like my parents wanted to like actually go to the shopping center to like get some stuff for the Boxing Day sales. And they didn't tell me that they were going to get me this Kirby game, but then they came back home and they had it, and I was so happy. And I remember my sister was like, why are you playing a game with this pink puffball guy? And I'm like, it's Kirby. Have you seen what he can do? And then I remember having a really difficult time with the arena. And I would always use the hammer because the hammer was super OP, figure out all the strats, finally beat the arena. And then I was amazed to see that there was a whole new set of stories to play through, like the Return of the King, the Meta Knight Nightmare segment where you get to play as Meta Knight and fight the Galactonite. And at the very end, it was the true arena where you fight all the new bosses and the ultra difficult bosses. And when I got to the end of the true arena, the final boss was this thing called Mark's Soul. And I remember when you beat him, he does this scream, this absolutely wretched, frightening, blood-curdling scream. And it's absolutely, as a 10-year-old guy, it scared the shit out of me. And I remember I had this sleepover with my friend as I beat this Mark Soul boss for the first time. And I couldn't sleep that night. Like, that Mark Soul scream kept me up. And if I even see it now, it still sends a little bit of a chill down my spine. Number 42 is Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest. So I actually played this game pretty recently, actually last year, and it's one of my favorite 2D platformers of all time. Of course, one of the greatest soundtracks I've ever heard in a singular video game, one of the best looking Super Nintendo games I've ever seen, visually, technologically. And last year I also played Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and it was funny because I think I enjoyed DKC 2 more as a 2D platformer than Mario Wonder for some odd reason. I felt like the creativity of Mario Wonder was being done in very cool and interesting ways back in the mid-90s in DKC 2. I know that kind of sounds weird, but the way you use the animal friends, a lot of the gimmicks of the levels, I was like, this game doesn't need anything extra like a Wonder Flower or Wonder Seed or anything. So I thought that was really cool. Very innovative, very difficult in the best way possible. Number 41 is Kid Icarus Uprising. It's hilarious, it's fun, it's unique, and it's just truly one of a kind. I remember that came out of my freshman year of high school, and I got it as my 14th birthday present. And me and my friend at that time were always talking about this game. We were always hyped for it. I remember that was the first time I had to experience a video game delay. And I was like, oh my god, dude, this game got delayed. We have to wait longer for it. And just thinking about that now is so funny because of how often games are delayed. Here's a quick little anecdote about this game. During freshman year of high school, I had to drive up with my mom one weekend to go to like a karate tournament because I was doing karate back then. And it was like a 4-hour drive to this place where we were going to do it, right? Or where I was going to compete. And I specifically told my mom when she was going to pick me up from school, I was like, please get my iPod Touch because I want to listen to music during the car ride, get my 3DS, and get my headphones so I can listen to like the game on my 3DS, and I can listen to my iPod Touch without like disturbing you or anything, all right? And she only got my DS. She forgot the other two things, and I was so angry. I was so mad. I was so upset, and she was so sorry about it. She was apologizing so much. And in my annoyance and my frustration, you know what I did? I took the aux cord of the car and I plugged it into the 3DS. And throughout the whole ride, I was playing Kid Icarus Uprising, and the volume was coming through the speaker. And as you guys know, it's a very talkative game. So the whole ride, my mom could hear like Palutena, Viridi, Pit, Dark Pit, Medusa, Hades, all these characters just rambling about like whatever. And she was like, oh, I really should have gotten those headphones for this kid. Number 40, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I genuinely think this is one of the most medieval fantasy Zelda games. I don't know if you guys get what I mean, but it's just the vibe that is so immaculate. The music is so perfect. The atmosphere is very, it fits so well for a game like this. Even the sound effects, the art style, the visuals, it all comes together in such a nice package with A Link to the Past. It's a very difficult game. I remember when I played it as a kid and as an adult, it was very difficult, and I think this definitely deserves a replay for me as someone who's much older now. It established a lot of conventions for this series, and just for that alone, it makes it a very, very iconic game. Number 39 is Pokemon Sapphire. I remember renting Pokemon Emerald from the video rental store, and that was my first taste of Hoenn. One day we went to EB Games back in Canada. There's a place that's like where we used to get our video games and stuff, right? And I saw Pokemon Sapphire, and I was like, this is my opportunity to get this game. And I begged my mom so much for it. But I'd already, I couldn't, getting or asking for a video game from my parents was a very difficult task back then. And I remember it was something along the lines of I'd either already gotten a new game or there was just some reason why I couldn't get Pokemon Sapphire. But I begged so much, I convinced my mom so much, and eventually I got it, and I was so thankful because I thought it was like a no, like a flat out no, and you're not gonna get this game, you're not gonna ever play this game. And that was like the last copy on the shelf, and I was like, this is my only chance, I gotta get this, you know? And I still remember my team. I remember fighting the Elite Four. I remember fighting Steven and beating Steven for the very first time. And I think that was the first time I actually rolled credits on a video game. It was Pokemon Sapphire. And I felt so good about it. I beat the Elite Four and I beat the champion for the very first time. So that's a very cherished memory I have. There's many other memories I have about this game. Getting lost at sea, getting lost in the caves, trying to learn how to read Braille to get Regirock, Regice, and Registeel. Like, so many amazing, beautiful memories of this game I'll never forget. And number 38 is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Literally all of 2008 was this game for me. Blown away. I would always go and see the Smash Dojo online every day after school just to see what new characters there were, what new secret characters there were to unlock. I remember when Sonic was announced, I was going crazy because I was a huge Sonic fan back then. I was so happy, so excited. I was like, what? Sonic is in the game? No way. And when I first got to play this game for the first time at my cousin's house, I was really, really bad at it. But I was having a really good time just playing as so many characters, playing as Ness and Lucas and Sonic and Pikachu and Pokemon Trainer and all these different characters. It was such a fun time. And I remember around that time I got my Wii, but later on I had to convince my parents, hey, can I please get this game? And then they're like, let's look up this game. And they looked it up, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Ooh, rated T? You're 9 years old, you're not a teenager yet, you can't get that game. And I convinced them so much. I was like, all my friends in school have it, my cousins have it, everyone has this game. Sonic is in it, Mario is in it, Link is in it, Pikachu is in it. And all that convincing finally made them actually get me the game. And it really took a lot of convincing, guys. I'm telling you guys. Trust me, it took a lot of convincing for my parents to get me this rated T game, as funny as that sounds. And I don't remember if it was a birthday or what special occasion it was, but I got the game. I was so happy. I was so excited. I played through it so much. I fell in love with the Subspace Emissary. But I remember I would always go back to school and like complain to my friends about this. I was like, my parents won't let me get this game because it's rated T or whatever. And my friend gave me a reason for that. He was like, hey, you know, there's this character, like, you know, Sonic got in the game, right? There's this other character named Snake. He got in the game too, and he uses guns. He uses rocket launchers and RPGs and guns and all that. He's probably the reason why this game is rated T. And because of that, that means your parents aren't going to let you get the game. And I was like, yeah, screw this Snake guy. Like, why did he have to get in the game? And if he wasn't in the game, then it would be so much easier to convince my parents to get it for me. But every single birthday party, every single hangout, every single time my friends would come over, it would be Smash Brothers. And I remember trying my best to unlock the characters in the very different kinds of ways, in the out of the ordinary ways, and also trying to get them through the Subspace Emissary. I really loved how this game felt more like a single-player adventure than co-op adventure as well. It felt like both. Whereas Smash now has sort of lost its single-player energy. And of course, the multiplayer stuff is a lot of fun as well, but that's one thing I'm kind of missing with Smash Bros. Batman Arkham Asylum is number 37. I showed one of my friends this list, and he was going through it, and he was like, dude, you have all these Nintendo games and RPGs and JRPGs, and then you have freaking Batman Arkham Asylum. Where did this come from? And yeah, I still am a huge Batman fan, but as a high schooler, that was like my obsession. Batman the animated series, the Dark Knight movies, the Batman video games, and this is one of like the first a little more grittier, mature games that I played. I was really in my Batman phase. I remember I borrowed this game from a friend before I actually got it. I completed it, and then I returned the game, and then later that Christmas, I actually got the game myself so I can like own it myself, and then I got Batman Arkham City as well to play. This game has incredible Batman the Animated Series vibes. If you guys remember Batman the Animated Series, Paul Dini, I think that was the writer and the showrunner of Batman the Animated Series, and those vibes really were translated over into this game. I think he co-wrote this game as well as Arkham City, so that's what really gave this game a lot of those vibes. And of course, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, amazing cast, love them, truly iconic roles. I also love, I'll never forget this, the part after you fight Bane, and he like throws you out of the asylum, and he's like super angry. He's like injected with all the venom serum and all that, and he runs out to you, and he's like, "I will break you, Batman!" And then he like punches you and throws you all over the place, and then Batman like just dusts himself off. He just presses a button, and Bane is like running to him, and he's like, "No, Bane, this time I'll break you." And he just jumps up in the air. The Batmobile hits Bane into the water. Batman hops into the Batmobile and rides away. I was like, this is cinema. That was what I was looking for in video games back then. Number 36 is Metroid Dread. The hype leading up to this game was incredible. I had shortly gotten into the Metroid series before this. Maybe like the summer before this game came out. Like there was a lot of rumors about a Metroid game coming around that time, so that's when I started following Rob from Rule of Two Review. Shout outs to him, awesome guy. Keeping up with your Metroid Prime 4 stuff, keep it up. And he was like the one saying like, hey, what if we get a new 2D Metroid? A lot of other people were saying that too, Andres Restart and a lot of other Nintendo YouTubers, and I always knew the fabled story of Metroid Dread. And when I remember I was watching E3 2021 on my own, hoping to see something like that, hoping to see more of Breath of the Wild 2 as we were calling it back then. And I remember seeing Metroid 5. We saw Samus in this new outfit. I was like, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. What if it's called Metroid Dread? And then the title card came, Metroid Dread. And I was freaking out. And I saw all the reactions to it. It was so wholesome to see this game get the love and attention it deserved. I remember I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at that time. And I specifically took a break to play Metroid Dread because I was like, I gotta give this game a shot. I gotta see what all the hype is about, because I'd played a Super Metroid and Fusion shortly before Dread, so I wanted to see the continuation of the story. I wanted to see how Mercury Steam has advanced a lot of the 2D Metroid elements, all that stuff. And I love the game, and I love the ending. The ending is amazing. Just that amazing end stretch was next level. Number 35 is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. I put HD here. I didn't beat the HD version, but I did beat the Wii version. I have a lot of memories surrounding this game. I don't think I'll talk about a lot of them right now. I might want to make my own video about like Twilight Princess and Zelda and stuff, but I have a very different feeling about this game now. I remember when I played it as a kid, I didn't like it a whole lot because I was like, this game is trying so hard to be Ocarina of Time, and it's being edgy and weird and gritty, and it's not even like doing it right, you know? I was just being very salty and judgmental. I wasn't seeing it through for what it was, truly. But then I played it as an adult in college, and I saw it completely differently. And I played it a bit in my 20s as well, like, I don't know, like maybe 2021, 2022, just the intro of it. And it hits so different as an adult. I'll probably make a whole video about that some other time. I really, really love this game. I really respect it. It's not very high on the list, but it's one of the greatest of all time. And I think if this game comes out on the Switch or something, it definitely deserves a full-on beginning to end replay for me. It's a very special game, and it has my favorite moment in any Zelda game. I'm not going to talk about that right now because it's going to get too rambly, but number 34, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I always, like, talk trash about this game, but I really love it. I really still do. It's a amazing RPG with its combat, its gameplay loop, its presentation, all top of the notch. The representation of the characters in Remake and Rebirth is probably my favorite thing about this game and this series, despite its convoluted storytelling, its messiness. I love those two things specifically. I will say though, the story can be haphazard, the plot is all over the place, and for Remake specifically, I was not a fan of the ending. I played Remake before the original FF7, did not like the ending for various reasons. I did not like it because it was very stretched out. There was like 5 boss fights back to back to back when I thought the game was over, and I did not understand what the hell was going on in the last like hour of the game. And if you guys played the game, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But that prompted me to go back to the original, play the original, understand the original, appreciate the original, love the original. I went back to Remake, just saw the cutscenes, and I kind of understood what was going on more. Then I went to Rebirth, enjoyed Rebirth. We'll talk about that later. Number 33. Oh, this is funny. Number 33 is Persona 3 Reload. Lots of threes there. To me, this is the best Persona story. Arguably the best cast. I think I prefer the investigation team more. I know everyone says 3 has the best story, 4 has the best characters, 5 has the best gameplay, but I truly feel that way. I'm not hopping on the bandwagon, I promise. I'm very glad I got to play it this way with the remake. Gameplay-wise, it's still not the best, but at least it's on par with something like Persona 5, and the remake helped a lot with that. The ending of this game was incredible. It got me very emotional. I really liked the ending of this game, and I really appreciated how the remake depicted it. Pokemon Heart Gold is number 32. Very sad story about this game, actually, before getting into Heart Gold. Middle school, we were in band. We had our whole like Pokemon group in band, right? And we'd always take our DSs with us on band trips. One day, for some odd reason, I don't know why, I lost my copy of Pokemon Platinum. And I'm now thinking back to how that happened. Why did I take it out of my DS? Did I take it out of my DS? Because I was under the impression that someone like stole it and took it out of my DS and just stole it because like people just suck, you know? People suck in middle school. So my friend felt really bad for me. He was like, hey, like we'll search for it. We'll search the lockers, we'll search the floor. And we searched the whole band hall, but we could not find it. And he felt really bad for me. So he gave me his copy of Pokemon Heart Gold. And I was like, he told me, he's like, hey, I'll give you Heart Gold. I didn't believe him. I was like, no, man, you don't have to do that. And he did, and I felt so thankful and so appreciative of that. And I really love this game. It was the cap off to 8th grade for me, I think. This game and Pokemon White were the cap off to 8th grade for me leading into high school. Pokemon Gold was actually the first Pokemon game I played at a friend's house before even getting my first Pokemon game, which was Fire Red, which we'll talk about later. So I remember a lot of the areas, the towns, the themes, the songs. Really vibed with this game. I remember fighting Lance for the first time. I remember fighting Red for the first time. I remember going to Kanto for the first time. Just all around good vibes. Love this game. Love the memories I have with it. Really, really nostalgic stuff. Number 31, Batman Arkham City. This was Christmas 2012. I remember I got this game 2012. It was Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Uncharted 3. I got Uncharted 3 the same year, and that was the same year I got the Wii U. This was very surprising even for me, but I found myself playing Batman Arkham City and Uncharted 3 way more than my Wii U, because of course I just had Nintendo Land. I was like, oh, I want to play Nintendo Land. I want to play a new Zelda game, and then of course I had to wait many years for that. So many iconic moments, best use of the Batman villains. It was just incredible seeing like deep cut villains like Ra's al Ghul, Clayface, all in this game. Who else? Azrael, like all these like cool villains that I knew from the comics and the TV shows, all in this game. Some super awesome Easter eggs. Amazing representation of characters like Two-Face and Penguin and Solomon Grundy and all that. It has one of my favorite boss fights in all of gaming with Mr. Freeze. That Mr. Freeze boss fight, if you guys don't remember that, if you guys don't know, it's an incredibly well-designed boss fight. It's so cool the way you have to use all of your gadgets, and you can't use the same gadget the same way again, because he will know, he will remember, he will like record that in his memory. That's so cool. I remember that Christmas day was the longest stretch I ever played a video game from beginning to end. I remember after I opened my presents, I went upstairs, popped it into my PS3, and played for 7 hours straight. And that's like nothing for like people like us now, but back then I was like, as a 14-year-old, I was like, oh my god, 7 hours straight. I felt so rebellious. I felt so cool. All right, we're in the top 30 now. Number 30, Pokemon Fire Red. Christmas 2007 was probably one of the greatest days of my life. And I recently told my parents this. I was like, I don't think you guys understood how much you gave me that Christmas. What I got that Christmas was I got a DS Lite. The DS Lite I still have. I got Pokemon Fire Red. Got Pokemon Leaf Green, because my parents didn't know that they were the same game. I got Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. I got Pokemon Ranger. And because my parents realized they got me so much Pokemon brain rot, they're like, hey, we gotta get this kid some like things to like work his brain, you know, like we gotta still be parents, you know. And they got me Brain Age, the original Brain Age. So I got all those games for Christmas that year, and it was the greatest day of my life. And I remember Pokemon Fire Red was my first Pokemon game, but it was not only my first Pokemon game, it was the game that like really started me on the adventure of video game. It was the first game that taught me how to save my game, because prior to that, I would get as far as I could in Viridian Forest, I would turn off my DS, and I would have to start from the very beginning, because I didn't know you had to press pause to go to the option called save and save your game. I didn't know this stuff. I didn't know how to work the PC in Pokemon. I didn't know how type matchups worked. I was, and the fact that I was restarting this game so many times allowed me to experiment with the different starters. I realized Bulbasaur was easy, Squirtle was a little easier, but still a little bit of a learning curve. Charmander was the hardest, but Charmander was my favorite, so I had to figure out how to get past the first gym with Charmander, until I realized Charmander learned Metal Claw. And then I was like, hey, let me use Metal Claw on Brock's Onix. And I was like, whoa, Steel is super effective against Rock. So like all this stuff, all this early stuff with Pokemon and gaming, it all came from Fire Red. And there's so many other memories surrounding it. I have some notes here, but I don't want to get into that too much. But just the nostalgia, like I would not be who I am without Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, specifically Fire Red because I prioritize that game. Hi-Fi Rush is number 29. I always tell my friends this is this is one of the most Nishant coded games of all time. If you guys don't know, that's my real name, but like it's one of the most like me games ever, and the reason why is because it's video games and rock and roll meets one. Like if you guys don't know, like I play guitar, I love rock music, I love rock and roll, like got my Nirvana shirt. I have other band shirts, but I'm just wearing my Nirvana shirt right now. But like, this game was one of a kind. Amazing characters, amazing vibes, amazing art style, amazing combat and gameplay, and Microsoft were fools for closing down the studio. I'm glad they got picked up again, but damn, like that was very sad news when I heard that. Number 28 is Pokemon Diamond. Unfortunately, like Pokemon Platinum, this game also got lost, and it's really sad to talk about because like I think I had so many hours in this game. Like even when I look at games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Xenoblade, like I think I clocked more hours in Pokemon Diamond, and I was so close to completing the Pokedex. I was like, there's 493 in the National Dex in Sinnoh. I was in the 300s. I was migrating Pokemon from my GBA games. I was using the Poke Radar to find all the rare Pokemon. I was breeding. I was going up and down Salacion Town breeding Pokemon with Ditto. It was fun. It was a good time. It's something that I unfortunately have lost. It was a very, very important game for me. Sinnoh and Gen 4 were very important games for me. I would play this with my best friend on the weekends. He lived a little farther away from me, so whenever we would plan like hangouts and playdates, it was a very special occasion. He would come over, we would play Pokemon Diamond, we'd battle each other, we'd trade. So many like good times, man. Like, yeah, Pokemon Diamond. Awesome game. Number 27, Live Alive. More recent game that I played, the remake. I'm talking about the remake. One of the most unique RPGs I've ever played. Everyone hyped it up so much that everyone will come together at the end. The stories will come together at the end. And I'm very happy with how that turned out. It's a very memorable ending and one of the best endings to any video game I've ever experienced. Really fun individual stories and just a lot of really good variety in terms of story, vibes, tone, gameplay, combat, all that stuff. Really, really awesome. Really good game. Number 26 is Pokemon White version. This is my favorite Pokemon game of all time. I initially didn't want it because I was in this sort of phase where like, oh, I'm too cool for Pokemon. I'm done with Pokemon or whatever. And then I saw how cool some of the Pokemon looked. I saw how cool the art style was. I saw how cool the animations and the graphics were. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. And I remember studying the decks for this game because we got a whole lot of new Pokemon. So many new ones. And not only that, but Unova had like just all new Pokemon. No returning Mons from any other region. So I remember studying the Pokedex on Cerebi and Pokedex 3D on my 3DS. So that was fun. And this was all I played at the end of 8th grade. Like it was Hard Gold first, and then at the very end of 8th grade, it was Pokemon White. And really, really awesome. So polished in its presentation, in its story, in its music. Just a very incredible Pokemon game, and I really love it. Really wholesome memories with it. Number 25 is Super Metroid, and the way I describe this game is kind of weird. I call it the most gamer game of all time, if that makes any sense. It felt so smooth and so much fun to play, and it's very short, but it's such a rewarding experience to me. I need to play it without save states because I played it on Switch Online with the save states, but I gotta get that full experience without the save states to get like that true experience. But it's a very well put together game. I just really love the game design. I love the atmosphere. I love the soundtrack. I love so many things about this game, and yeah, that ending sequence as well is amazing. Very cool storytelling with very little dialogue and text. Very awesome. Number 24 is Metroid Prime Remastered. So this took me a lot of time to play. I was holding off on it for a very long time, but when I played it in 2021, I absolutely loved it. And a lot of early Nishquik Pop's memories are surrounding this game, because my early videos were a lot of UX and usability analyses surrounding my favorite video games like Persona 5 and the Zelda games and Metroid and Xenoblade and all that, right? And I remember posting this to other people outside of the YouTube and Discord sphere, and believe it or not, I could not believe this, but two former Retro Studios employees, and not just two former Retro Studios employees, two high-up employees who worked on the Prime series, Mike Wicken and Brian Walker, actually saw that video, and they shared it to like their network on LinkedIn, and that was so cool. That's something I'll just never forget it. I think even Mike Wicken like subscribed to me on YouTube or something. I thought that was so cool. So Mike Wicken, if you're still watching, I don't think you're watching, but like if you are, shout outs to you. Thank you for making the Prime games what they are. And I know you're excited for Metro Prime 4 just like I am. So exciting stuff. Yeah, that was a very gratifying moment for me as a YouTuber with not even 100 subscribers under my belt. Fun times. Number 23, Star Fox 64. My first Nintendo 64 game that I ever played, and I got on the Wii with the Wii points. I remember I had to convince my parents because they didn't understand like what all this like digital points currency is. So I was like, hey, I need your credit card, $20 to get 2,000 Wii points. Can I please use the credit card? And they're like, what are Wii points? I had to explain to them what it is, what I'm getting with it, all that stuff, right? And then the first games I got were Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. 3, and Star Fox 64. And I remember only knowing Star Fox 64 because of the memes and do a barrel roll and the quotes and all that, but I was like, I need to play this for myself because it looks so cool. It's an on-rail shooter and all that stuff, and I knew Fox and Falco from Smash, and I remember I sucked so much at the game, but once I got good, I was doing all the routes, I was doing all the pathways, I was doing it in hard mode, easy mode, medium mode, getting all the endings, and it was such a fun time. I remember playing it so much on the Wii, and then I played it even more on the 3DS version. So great. Number 22, and this game is much lower than I expected to see it, but here it is. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I am very mean to this game. I will admit, I am very mean to this game, and I'm sorry to all the Tears of the Kingdom fans. I'm sorry to Tears of the Kingdom itself that I'm very mean to you. But I had high expectations for this game. Didn't meet all of them, but by gosh, did I have a good time with it. I still really did. And it's better, even playing it on the Switch too, I was reminded of how cool the game is, the awesome things you can do, the crazy things you can get into, and like, it's just out of this world. The things that they were able to engineer on the original Nintendo Switch system. And I remember this was one of the first midnight premieres that I ever went to. I don't usually do midnight premieres for games, but I was like, this is Zelda. Like, I gotta do it, you know? And I went to the GameStop midnight premiere. They had Zelda cookies. They had Zelda trivia. I got the game. I went back home, started at 1 a.m., kept playing until like 4:30 in the morning, woke up the next day, continued playing it. My friend visited me from out of town. He came back. He came down to town. He was watching me play the game. He played it for a bit. We got other friends coming over. They played it. They were like, oh my god, this is the new Zelda game. This is what you can do. And I remember one of those friends who came over was so blown away by Tears of the Kingdom that he went out and got Breath of the Wild later that day. And he was like, yo, I gotta play both of these games. I'm gonna start with Breath of the Wild. And yeah, it just having that kind of community dynamic, that community love with this game was something really cool, because a lot of like that friend group doesn't really play Zelda. So it was really nice seeing something like that. It was really wholesome, a lot of fun. Number 21 is Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII. I have a very wild history with this game. You guys can check out my video, Learning to Love Final Fantasy VII. There's a a lot of history with that game, but that video doesn't have the whole story. I will just say that the more I sit on this game, the more I think about it, the more I look into the history of this game, the more I reflect on this game, and the more I experience other PlayStation 1 games, the more I love it, and the more I really just adore what this game was trying to do and what this game is. And it's not like I'm living this love of Final Fantasy VII through other people, but I'm working through my emotions with this game, and I'm understanding what other people feel about this game as well. I've just grown a lot more fond to it, and there's a lot to this game that means a lot to me personally. That's probably another video for another time, so we'll get to that some other time. Alright, we are in the top 20 right now, guys. Here we go. Number 20 is the newest game released on this entire list, and that is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I did not make as many videos about this game as I wanted to, because I will be honest, my playthrough of this game was a little rough. I wouldn't say it was rushed, but it was a little rough. I was playing on expert mode, and I didn't know I was playing on expert mode, so the game was very difficult. So it took me a little longer to get through it. It's a little more arduous, a little more difficult, a little more strenuous for me. But it was still fun nonetheless. If you guys remember, I was very hyped for this game leading up to it, and I did not expect it to blow up the way that it did. I didn't expect a lot of my friends who have always hated JRPGs, hated turn-based games, just like look down on all this stuff, not only because of its anime-ness or its cringiness, but because it's turn-based. They were telling me, hey man, like, are you playing this game? I'm like, what do you think? Of course I'm playing this game. This is a turn-based, this is a JRPG, this is Final Fantasy PS1 inspired. Of course I'm playing this game. But I'm like, you're playing this game? I'm happy to see you playing this game. Like, that alone gave me so much happiness with this game. And incredible story, incredibly written characters. Like, so much of this game is so Xeno-coded. So when all my friends are like, oh, Nishan plays Xenoblade, whatever, like, so anime, I'm like, hey, all those crazy Xenoblade themes, all that crazy Xenoblade story stuff that I'm freaking out about, all that's in Expedition 33, and they're like, oh, no way, and I'm like, yes way, seriously. And incredible turn-based combat, incredible gameplay loop. The story of how this game was developed is also just so inspiring. As someone who's a creative, as an artist, it's so inspiring. I truly love it. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Anyways, continuing on, number 19 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. One of the best action RPGs I have ever played. It fixed so many issues I had with the original Final Fantasy VII Remake. And the issues I have with Remake and Rebirth come from the grander idea of remaking the series and turning it into something that it really shouldn't be, you know? That's another story for another time. Such amazing moments, many jaw-dropping moments, many emotional moments in this game. And like I said, amazing, beautiful character moments. I just love all the moments with Aerith and Tifa and all your cast members, and just the way they depicted Cloud in this game was very, very good. I love how they... I also played this game at a very difficult time. Early 2024 was very rough for various reasons in my life, and this game really helped me through that because of just its story, the things that the characters themselves were experiencing, and just like as an escape, you know, like that's what video games are meant to be, so I kind of like that. Number 18, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I actually haven't written anything for this, so I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't like that I have to play this game so many times. I didn't like that my first playthrough of this game was probably what's going to be my least favorite path. But last year I played Golden Deer and I played Verdant Wind, and I loved every single person in that house, except maybe Lorenz. Lorenz still has a very punchable face. Screw Lorenz. but I love every single one of them. Ignatz is my boy. I love Marianne. I grew to like Leonie quite a bit. Lysithia, amazing. Just Hilda, waifu. Of course, like Petra's my favorite character in the entire game. Number one waifu, probably number one Fire Emblem waifu of all time. But like Golden Deer felt like the nerds. They felt like me. Like if I was in this game, I would be in Golden Deer. Totally. And just the idea of Persona combined with Fire Emblem was very cool. They did a very good job with it. Combat and tactics wise, maybe not as good as the other games. That's fine. They're prioritizing other things in this game. Truly amazing story, amazing lore. I enjoy the DLC as well. I know a lot of people didn't vibe with the DLC, but I kind of like the DLC. What else? This was one of my pandemic games. I played Crimson Flower during the pandemic. Kept me very busy during that time, and I really, really appreciate this game for that. Lots of very fond memories of this game through pandemics, hurricanes, power outages. Fire Emblem Three Houses is always there with me, and I'm gonna have to continue my Azure Moon Blue Lions playthrough in a bit. Number 17, Dark Souls 3. This is the hardest video game I've ever played in my entire life. Everything I learned from this game was not just about how to be better at playing a Souls game, how to be better at playing action games. It taught me about myself. It was a very grueling experience that made me like seriously like look inside of myself and ask some very important questions about myself. And I know like that's the very like toxic mentality to have with Souls games, but having played other Dark Souls games prior to this, I never had that mindset. But when I played the DLC, I experienced feelings in a video game I had never experienced in my life. Just getting absolutely demolished by Dark Eater Midir for 3 days straight. And finally, the night that I beat him, I was on VC with my friends and my head was pounding. I could feel like the blood rushing to my brain. It was just pounding and pounding and my head hurt so much. And I was so happy that I beat him. But then I realized I had another final boss to go. It was the Slave Knight Gale. And that was even more stressful because I was so close to beating him twice when he had like a sliver of a health bar left, and then his like lightning just like destroyed me. And I felt like giving up there and then. And my friends were like, no, man, you gotta do this. You're so close. You're so close. You gotta do this. And it was like 1 a.m. My head was pounding. Had a brain-splitting headache. I beat the game. I beat the DLC. But I told myself at what cost. But looking back at it now, I feel like if I beat Dark Souls 3 and if I did it that way, I feel like I can do anything in my life, you know? It's one of those kinds of experiences. Number 16, Persona 5 Royal. I had wanted to play this game for such a long time. Ever since Joker was announced for Smash, I was figuring out some sort of way to play the game. And I didn't have a PS4, so I was like, I'll get it on my PS3. But then Persona 5 Royal was announced, and all my friends were like, don't get the vanilla version, just wait it out for Royal. Atlas, it does this kind of thing. And I didn't understand what they were talking about. So that was around the time PS5 rumors were swirling. So I was like, I'll just wait for the PS5, and I'll get Persona 5 on there. So what's funny enough is when everyone was getting Miles Morales and Demon Souls on their PS5, first game I got was Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 Royal reminds me of my last ever winter break of my entire life. Last ever winter break of college before I graduated. All I did was literally get up in the morning, play Persona 5 Royal. Sometimes I would have breakfast if I would feel like it or not. Play Persona 5 Royal, eat lunch, play Persona 5 Royal, eat dinner, play Persona 5, sleep. And that was paradise to me at that time. And I at that time in my life, I was so dedicated to playing a game, which was like 120 hours. And I remember really enjoying it back then. I don't know if I can do it again, but that was an experience and I really liked it. But truly a one-of-a-kind game, one-of-a-kind experience. And yeah, it's awesome. It's Persona 5, you know. You know Persona 5. Number 15, Final Fantasy IX. I played it last year with the Maguri mod, and this game truly solidified my love for the classics and the PlayStation 1 era of RPGs. The OST is totally, incredibly next level. Love it. Some of the best work of Nobuo Uematsu. Amazing character, amazing story, amazing world building in this game. The game just feels ahead of its time. I was telling one of my friends, I was like, this doesn't even feel like a PS1 game. They're so ready to get onto the PS2 that they were just maxing everything they could with the PS1 in this game. And as you guys know, if you know, you know, but the ending just made me an absolute emotional wreck. You love it for that. Final Fantasy IX. Amazing stuff. Number 14, Elden Ring. One of the best eras of gaming I had with my friends. I'm still in this one Discord server with some of my friends, like my personal friends, and every single one of us was playing this game at this time. We're just asking each other for help, getting advice, seeing each other stream the game and seeing each other fail, getting roasted by our builds, all that stuff. It's truly one of the greatest open world experiences I had since Breath of the Wild, and it took me an entire year to beat the game, but it was worth it. It was worth every little bit of it. It was worth taking my time. It was worth respecing to get the build that I wanted. It was worth beating every single unique boss that I could find in the overworld. I will never forget this game. I wish I could play for the first time over again, but I can't. And I have yet to beat Shadow of the Erdtree. I will get to that eventually. This is the last Soulsborne game to round out the Soulsborne stuff, but this is my favorite Soulsborne game. Number 13 is Bloodborne. My first ever Souls game, and I remember one of my friends who I still talk to, one of my childhood friends from Canada. He was telling me, hey man, you gotta play Bloodborne. It's on PS Plus, you should play Bloodborne. This is back when I had PS Plus. And I was like, no man, like I heard that's one of those Souls games made by From Software. Like I'm not about that, you know, like I don't want those, I don't want to play those hard games that everyone just says is like, it's hard, you know, like I don't want to just play it for that. And he was like, no, it's actually a really well-designed game. It's not just hard just to be hard. I heard it's really good. And I was like, okay, have you played it? And he's like, no, not yet. If you play it, then I'll play it. And I was like, okay. And then I watched some videos about people talking about Bloodborne and how passionate they are about it. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll see what this whole Bloodborne thing is about. And my first day with it, it was grueling. It was tiring. It was stressful, but I'll never forget that rewarding, exhilarating feeling of beating the cleric beast for the first time. I'll never forget how I studied the best possible build for the Bloodstar beast, and I was so overprepared and I was so scared going into that boss fight. I went into that boss fight so overprepared, I beat him in like less than 30 seconds, and I was like, I'm unstoppable. I can do anything in this game. So that feeling of overcoming such hardships and doing it for the first time in a game I never thought I could do it in is just so amazing. And last year, because I was feeling the Bloodborne vibes again, I went back and I played the Old Hunters DLC for the very first time. Fought Ludwig, fought Maria, fought the Orphan Akos. I think that's one of the greatest experiences I've ever experienced in a From Software game. And it's next level. I loved it. The Old Hunters, I think, made me bump this game up on this list that I have, like, I'm telling you guys about right now. So yeah, awesome stuff. Bloodborne is amazing. Number 12, we're climbing up the ranks here. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. I'm gonna put the HD version because it's like the definitive version, you know? This game is very high on the list. If you guys know me though, you guys know I'm a Skyward Sword stan. You know I love this game. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I would watch every single trailer for this game. Every single news drop, every single trailer, every single article. This is the first time I really immersed myself into video game news and the pre-release hype for a game. The idea of one-to-one swordplay was amazing. I didn't even understand, I didn't even realize that a tech demo that Miyamoto and Bill Trinen did, I didn't realize that was a haphazard mess until I was older and I rewatched it and I heard people talk about it. I didn't care as a kid because I thought it was so incredible that you could shoot your bow like this. You could throw bombs, you can roll bombs, you can like swing your sword, you can move your shield. Like, I thought that was incredible as a kid, as a Zelda fan, how old was I? Like 12-year-old Zelda fan. This was blowing my mind. And Christmas 2011, another amazing Christmas. Skyward Sword is all I talked about. At school, at home, with my friends, my family, everyone they knew Nishan, Skyward Sword, Skyward Sword, Skyward Sword, right? My cousins were visiting us for Christmas back then. And this is the same cousin who got me into Xenoblade. Shoutouts to him. I don't know if he's watching this video, but you can see him in that 5-year Xenoblade video that I did a few months back. But he and his family were visiting. And of course, like, they got us Christmas presents too. They got me Skyward Sword. And guess what my parents also got me? Skyward Sword. So I got 2 versions of the game. I got the version with the Wii Remote Plus and the soundtrack. And then I got like the normal version with the Wii Remote attachment. But the fact that I got the game twice was like, I didn't care that I didn't get 2 different presents. That same Christmas I got Mario Kart 7 and Super Mario 3D World, but I just felt so happy to have my Zelda fantasy realized. And it was just kind of cool to have 2 versions of Skyward Sword. And recently I found a picture of it. Like, if I have that picture, I'll like put it up here just to show you guys like how happy and how excited I was about that. Very, very awesome memories with Skyward Sword. About the game, I guess you can say it's got the best story, best dungeons, arguably the best Z-Link romance, however you want to call their ship. I love this game so much, man. Like, I know it gets so much hate. People tear it apart, say it ruined the series, but like, this is my Zelda game. I have written it down here. It's like, it's not my favorite Zelda, but it maybe had arguably the biggest impact on me. And for me, like, so many other Zelda games, I might like them more, they might have even a bigger impact on me, but the Zelda game that is me, you know, like, it's the Nishan Zelda game, that's Skyward Sword. And that is such a like intrinsic feeling for me. And I also truly, actually, genuinely think it is a good game. That's just my opinion, but you guys might not agree with that. But anyways, number 11 is Persona 4 Golden. The memories I have with this game are so incredibly special. It oozes so much nostalgia. Even when I played it for the very first time in September 2020, I was getting nostalgic vibes from this game, but it reminded me so much of myself when I like lived in a small town in Canada. It reminded me of my childhood for some reason. It reminded me of high school as well, of course, because you're playing as high school students. It just reminded me of the very simple, good things in life. The fall era of the pandemic back then was very cozy, but I was also ignoring so many important things in my life. I remember specifically. I remember I was just ignoring stuff and just playing Persona 4 Golden instead. This is my first ever Persona game, and it reminds me so much about myself, and it's a beautiful experience. Love it. Love Persona 4. Some moments and some songs from that game can really just pull a heartstring, like tug on a heartstring, like pull an emotional chord. I'm not even saying that the right way, whatever, let's just move on. We're in the top 10 right now, guys. Here we go. Another more recent game. Here it is, number 10, Metaphor ReFantazio. The hype for this game was absolutely unreal. Project ReFantasy. I remember when I beat Persona 5 in early 2021, I learned about this game, Project ReFantasy, and I was getting all my news from Mr. David Cast JRPGs. Shoutouts to him. I don't know if he's watching the video, but shoutouts to David. I've been watching your channel ever since like 2020, 2021, ever since I beat Persona 5. You've been my ReFantasy source ever since then. Flashback to that Xbox showcase, man. Like, when that was shown off, I was not ready for it. I was freaking out. And I was so excited for this game. Every single trailer, every single news bit, every single character deep dive. And the game came out, and it's a very, very, very truly special game to me. Very powerful message about the power of fantasy. I love the characters. I love the story. It is easily the greatest story in any Atlas game I've ever experienced. It reminds me of a very special and very positive point in my life. Like, I remember, if you guys remember, early in last year with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like, things weren't going so good. But at the end of the year, things started to really pick up in very positive ways. And I'm very happy that around that exact same time, finally got my hands on Metaphor ReFantazio. And the things that I was going through in my life at that point really mirrored the Tournament for the Throne journey of the hero in Metaphor. And I just loved it. I love when video games make you feel that way. And it's a very rare thing. And I just love when games like speak to you like that. It's good stuff, you know? Number 9, and I always thought this game was much higher. This list is always moving around. I'm always making changes, but The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is number 9. This game took me 2 years to beat. I will say, before this game even came out, I hated the idea of it. Open world Zelda, not my thing. I saw the trailers, and I was like, what is this? Why is Link cooking? Why is Link wearing different outfits? Why is Link swinging a tree branch? Why is he knocking down a honey hive or whatever? I didn't understand the vibe until I played the game for the first time. I was a freshman in college. I was broke, so I could only get the Wii U version. But when I booted up the Wii U version, my friends would come over and be like, what the hell are you playing, man? What is this? And I was like, this is the new Zelda game. This is Breath of the Wild. And they're like, this is Zelda? All the cool things you can do in this game, this is Zelda? And I was like, yeah, man. This is the game I've been waiting for on the Wii U ever since the Wii U came out. And I had to wait now for a new console, the Nintendo Switch. And I can't even get it because I'm broke. So I had to get the Wii U version. So Breath of the Wild is a really... Oh, first of all, it's one of the greatest games ever made. It is an influential, impactful game for just video games in general, for so many developers and so many game creators and just creatives in general. But not only that, for me, it's signifying a new step for one of my favorite video game franchises of all time, in both a very good and maybe in a not so good way. I don't know. We'll talk about that in another video. But long story short, loved it. Had a lot of awesome college memories with this game. It was my first ever open world game, actually. Before even Skyrim, I had never played a Skyrim or a Fallout game or anything like that. Not even a Witcher game. It was also there for me at a very tough point in my life, when I also didn't really know and accept I was going through a tough point in my life. I just like had Breath of the Wild there as an escape. And then when I realized like everything happening in my life, I went back and realized I was like, Breath of the Wild was like a really good escape, you know? It was a good game to just kind of like let loose. So yeah. All right. Number 8, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. This game was a little lower on the list, but after Definitive Edition, guys, like, it's up there. Like, I don't want to talk about the game too much because I have a review coming. I just want to say this. Streaming this game for you guys was so much fun. I haven't had that much fun on this channel in a very long time. I'm going to say this at like the end of the year video, but I'll just like tease this right now. That finale with the epilogue is one of the greatest days of all of 2025 for me. Like, I remember beyond just streaming, everything that happened that day was so much fun, and it capped off with the amazing 6.5 hour epilogue stream with so many of you guys in the chat, and it was so much fun. That is a history, and that is a moment in Nishquik Pops, like, this channel's legacy that I'm just never ever going to forget. So that's all I want to say about Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Gets the number 8 spot. Number 7 is Fire Emblem Awakening. this game got me into JRPGs in the first place. I have an old video talking about how much this game means to me, but it taught me so much about myself. It taught me so much about my taste. It developed my taste in video games and RPGs and like fictional characters and all that goofy stuff. And this game was also like one of those games that was there for me at a very tough time. I remember those summers that I played this game in high school were very stressful because of extracurriculars and summer school and things going on with friends and all that. And I remember to like cope with a lot of the stress, I would just listen to the OST. And when I just wanted to feel confidence, when I wanted to feel good, I would put on the extended version of Id Purpose and just keep it running on loop. And I almost feel like nervous to replay this game because of how hard the nostalgia train is going to hit me and like how emotional I'm going to get. I would not be the person I am without Fire Emblem Awakening. It's got to take one of the greatest, most ultimate, mega amazing, over-the-top, life-changing Fire Emblem games to top Fire Emblem Awakening as my favorite Fire Emblem game. Number 6, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition. Started this game in the summer of 2020. The rest is history, guys. Like, I don't know what to say for Xenoblade, and especially, okay, I'll say this for Xenoblade 1. I initially saw this game as just a cool, like, game with cool characters and cool moments and all that, and then the more I talked about it with some friends, the more I reflected on it myself, the more I grew up, the more I, like, went through life, the more I realized that this game truly means more than it's letting on. And there are moments of dialogue at the very end of this game. I'll just never forget some of the words that some of the characters say in this game that like resonate with me forever as like life lessons, you know? Fucking Xenoblade, like this is what this shit does to you. It's crazy. Wow. Speaking of Xenoblade, to start off the top 5 is a tie, because I'm combining these together. It is a tie of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Torn of the Golden Country. I initially was not going to play Xenoblade 2. I thought it was too weeby and anime and all that. Of course, I was wrong. I love this game despite its flaws. I love this game despite its cringiness. I love it despite its haphazard development. It's a game still made with so much love. It is truly a game about love, you know, like as cheesy as that sounds. And I played this in my early 20s when like a lot of things in my life had like significantly changed. I was not the same person I was. I like just matured in so many different ways in terms of like my friends, my outlook on life, and just a lot of things like that. And then I played this game and I saw Rex initially in the beginning of the game. I'm like, dude, this kid is so freaking annoying. Like, get him off. Like, he's not even as cool as Shulk. Like, Shulk was so much cooler. And then I kept playing the game more and more and more. And I grew to love Rex so much. And I grew to, like, realize that Rex reminded me a lot of myself when I was, like, his age. And it was such a beautiful, reflective experience. Like, there are so many moments in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that I look at it and I remember some of the, like, really, like, emotional, like, tender moments in my life and how things like that, like, shape me into the person I am today. I don't even know how to like say this. It is so unscripted, but like I love this game for everything that it is. Such a reflective, beautiful, amazing experience, and it's just it's good stuff. I feel like I've talked about this way better in other videos, other podcast discussions. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. I initially saw this game as a huge Ocarina of Time fan. Spoilers for the rest of the list, I guess. It's so different, it's so weird, like, why would they, like, do this to Zelda? Like, what? Why are they doing this? It doesn't feel anything like Ocarina of Time. And eventually I was like, hey, I'll give the game a shot. I wasn't sold on it because of the different vibes and because of the 3-day time cycle. I was like, I don't think I'd vibe with something like this. And in my head, I was like, this is gonna be my least favorite 3D Zelda game when I play all of them. Little did I expect that was Wind Waker, and I can't believe Wind Waker didn't even make the list. I just realized today. Wind Waker didn't even make the list. I played Majora's Mask. I did that first cycle, and then I realized how ingeniously, how utterly creatively they utilized this 3-day time cycle. And I was so blown away. I was so impressed. And I was like, I gotta continue this game. I gotta do the side quests. I gotta seek out all the people who need help in Clocktown. It just felt like a very refreshing Zelda experience. It has my favorite Zelda dungeon of all time in Stone Tower. Some of my favorite Zelda side quests like Andrew and Cafe. It has some of my favorite Zelda moments. It has one of my favorite Zelda stories. And I think that's what I love about this game so much. It was a game that really taught me about grief and sadness and what it is like to be emotional and express your emotion. And just learning about things like that through this game was so cool. I didn't know I would experience something like that. And it was a very gratifying, very memorable experience, I guess. And yeah, Majora's Mask arguably could be my favorite Zelda game, but you'll see why it isn't at the top for various reasons. All right, number 3. I'm still looking at this list and I'm so happy to have this game this so high, but I did not expect it to be this high. That is the game I can't stop talking about, the game I can't shut up about to all my friends, to even people outside of my gaming circle. That is Xenogears on the PlayStation 1. Obviously, like, Xenogears has really good story, really good characters, really good world building, absolutely intensive lore. It's also an incredibly ambitious game. So many things that this game was trying to do, so many other games just did not achieve it. And you can see Takahashi and Saga's ambition, their drive, their love for Jungian and Freudian psychology and psychoanalysis, of Gnosticism, of Western pop culture, of religion, of politics, so many things in this game. It's a love letter to everything that they love in this world and find interesting in this world. And it is their message to their fans. It is their message to the world. It is their love letter to whoever wants to experience it, I guess. But to me, Xenogears is more than just any of that. I don't know how to say this, but all I will say is I went through like a lot of very difficult moments in my life, like in my early adulthood, and I didn't fully process a lot of it. Like, of course I did. When it all happened, like, I knew what was going on. I understood what was going on with myself, but there are some things I still, like, internalize about myself. I didn't understand about myself. I didn't understand why certain things happened to me, I guess. And when I played Xenogears, it made me look deeper inside myself, and the game was almost telling me, like, hey, it's okay that this happened, but this is why, and this is sort of making sense of what happened to you. And it's not like my experience mirrored Faye's exactly or anything like that. No. It's just a lot of what the game was trying to tell me really resonated with me and made me look inside myself and look back at my past, then just try to build a better version of myself, you know? And for that, the game, like, it's so cliche to say Xenogears changed my life, and like anyone can play the game, see like Krellian talking about God, or see all the Gnostic references, and look into the psychoanalysis or see like Faye coming to terms with all the different sides of himself and be like, oh, so life-changing. But like for me it was different. For me it was such a personal journey, seeing a lot of that game play out, understanding what was happening in the game, understand how it related to me, how it reflected on the things that were happened to me, and like who I am now and who I could be in the future, you know? It's very vague, and it's getting a little personal. I don't want to talk about it too much, but no other video game can ever do that to me. And the only reason this game isn't my favorite video game of all time is because it's an incomplete mess. And everyone who's played the game knows that. Otherwise, it might have had one of the most personal, monumental, emotional impacts on me, like across like any medium. Like there's a lot of like games, music, movies, like just media in general that really hits me. Xenogears is one that just really hit me, you know, and I'll never ever forget this game for that. It is a truly it's a game that it's a story and an experience that's really imprinted into my soul. To round out that whole cheesy segment about Xenogears, whatever. Anyways, moving on. We're almost done. Number 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 plus Future Redeem. I'm gonna do the thing where I'm like, guys, watch my 3-year Xenoblade 3 video, guys. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about this again, but I will say, as a young adult playing that game, things were tough then. I was confused. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in a tough spot. People around me were pressuring me to like be a certain kind of person, to meet certain expectations, and I was still figuring out what I wanted, and I just felt like I was stuck. I felt like I was a Mobius. And then I played the game, and I remember seeing those characters, Noah, Mio, Uni, Tyon, Lancena, like all going through the exact same thing. A very different kind of scenario, very different kind of circumstances, but it just made me realize that I wasn't alone in a lot of the struggles that I was going through. And after like playing the game and then just reaching out to other people, talking about like life and all that shit, right? I realized then again that I also wasn't alone. Like a lot of us were going through this very turbulent turmoil of being a person in your early 20s. That's what life is. But outside of that, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 might be the very biased in saying this, by the way, but it's probably the greatest modern video game experience that I have had. Of course, for the personal impact, the story, the moments, the hype, the hype leading up to the freaking release, that was so much fun. Like, shout outs to my buddy Justin, Just Keep Playing. He did for the 3-year anniversary, he had me and my buddy Yggdrasil on his channel. We did a long discussion about Xenoblade 3. You guys can check that out too for more Xenoblade 3 stories, but like, not only the pre-release hype, but the story, but the game itself. It just felt like such a polished Monolith Soft experience, and I just loved relishing my time with that game. And then the Game Awards hype and all that, it was just so much fun. I loved it. I loved it. Very good time, very fun time, very formative time for me with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Number 1, the greatest game of all time, according to Nishquik Pops, is not Xenogears. It's not Xenoblade 2. It's not Xenoblade 3. It's not Super Mario RPG. It's not Balan Wonderworld. It's not any of these games. It is a very basic pick. It's a very like normie pick for favorite video game of all time. Can you guess what it is? You probably could guess what it was a few entries back. It is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. On this list, I put the 3DS version because I think I played that, I don't know, I played this game way too many times. I played it a lot of times on the Wii Virtual Console. I played it in other methods that I won't say right now. I played it on the 3DS. I played it a lot, and I always tell people this. I always look at my life pre-Ocarina of Time, post-Ocarina of Time. And what I look for in a video game now isn't something like Ocarina of Time. Like, I look for more story and character-based video games. I look for more, like, a little bit more adventure than what Ocarina of Time has. But when I played this game for the very first time, I was doing these puzzles, I was experiencing the story, I was going on this adventure, I was exploring Hyrule Field and Lake Hylia and Gerudo Valley and all this stuff. I thought to myself, can it ever get better than this? Can story and gameplay be blended so seamlessly and so perfectly together to create an experience that will last with you for a lifetime? And I was just so mind blown. Like, the way I talked about Skyward Sword to like all my relatives, all my friends, and all that, like, that was me with Ocarina of Time when I first played it. Like, I remember my uncle visited us from India, and that's all I could talk to him about. I was like, this game was made just a few months after I was born, but it was so ahead of its time. It's still one of the most highly acclaimed video games ever made. Everyone still loves it. It's so highly praised. It influenced so many other video games. Every single video game I played after Ocarina, I was realizing and remembering and understanding the influence that it took from Ocarina, from Z-targeting to dungeon design to combat to exploration, all of this stuff it took from the GOAT, Ocarina of Time. But to me, not only was it an influential game in that way, and not only did I understand the true blending of story, narrative, and gameplay, but to me, it was and it still is, a game about growing up and coming of age. I remember I played that game many times in middle school, and when I was like a kid, like 11, 12 years old, I was literally like young Link's age. And then in college, when Breath of the Wild was about to come out, I replayed it on the 3DS when I was like adult Link's age. I just had a very like massive epiphany that this game has always been there for me in every single facet of my life. It has influenced me in so many different ways. It has been like the source of a lot of my passion when it comes to video games, as corny and cheesy as that sounds, but it is. And I can't think of any other game being number one, because if it wasn't for Ocarina of Time, I just wouldn't have experienced more Zelda games. If I hadn't experienced more Zelda games, I wouldn't have branched out into RPGs to look for more story-based games. I wouldn't have found Fire Emblem. I wouldn't have found Final Fantasy, Persona. Hell, I wouldn't even found freaking Xenoblade. And of course, maybe I would have, but it's the snowball effect that I think of in my mind, and I would have found Xenoblade. I would have, but I wouldn't be the person I am now. I wouldn't have gone on the journey that Ocarina of Time set me on, you know? And that's what means so much to me with this game, and with all of these games that I've talked about in this list. I always say, like, I ramble on, and I really did. Some of you guys say, like, oh, Nishquik, I want you to release, like, an hour-long video of you just rambling, so I can keep it on in the background and just ramble and listen to you ramble. So if you guys want that, then here you go. I guess you guys got what you wanted. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know when to shut up. Hey guys, sorry about that. I was talking so much that my SD card got full, so I'm gonna finish this off on my phone camera. Thank you guys so much for 3,000 subs. I cannot believe 3,000 individual people hit that subscribe button for some like random nerd like me who talks about video games on YouTube. It means so much to me that you guys, like, even just like 50 of you come to watch a singular video of me talk about whatever the heck I want to talk about, whether it's like my personal experiences with video games, whether it's my thoughts on a new game coming out, or just like an analysis of a game that I thought over, anything. I really, really, truly appreciate it. And every single comment and like and push of support from any of you guys and all of you guys, it does not go unnoticed. I can't believe I get to do something like this and just be mildly successful. I wouldn't even say that I'm like 3,000 subscribers is like it's not much, but like it's cool. It's cool. Thank you for making this worthwhile. And this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Here's to what, 5K, 10K, 100K. Anyways, thank you guys so much. This is Nishquik signing off. Have a great day. Go play some great games today, like any of the 50 games that I ranked on this list. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquik. Thank you so much for watching that video. And if you enjoyed it, check out these 2 videos on the left and maybe subscribe if you haven't on your way out. And big shout out to all my channel members whose names you can see on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.